Welcome to Season 5 of Faith and Sustainability, a podcast where we continue to explore how our faith traditions inspire our care for our common home. I'm your host and tour guide, Leonard Robinson, and together we will dig into exciting stories and thought-provoking conversations about faith and sustainability.
And I'm Kat Doyle, your co-host. This podcast, as always, is made possible through the generous support of Jamie Lanier, the Varlamov Family Foundation, Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, St. Francis Services, and Semco Atlanta. So, Leonard, let's talk about our guest today.
Well, Kat, today we're thrilled to welcome Kimberly White, a true advocate for environmental stewardship. Kimberly serves as Chief Sustainability Officer for Cobb County, and she serves as Executive Director of Keep Cobb Beautiful, two dynamic initiatives that are driving local sustainability and community engagement. Kimberly, welcome to the intersection of faith and sustainability.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Okay, we're very glad to have you. So let's just dive into it. Tell us about your personal faith journey.
So I initially went to school to be a lawyer, from all things. And I got the opportunity to live and study abroad in Spain. I chose Spain because I'd taken Spanish for all those years in college. And when I got there, the people there lived this life of conservation that I had never seen before while living here. And I had the great opportunity one weekend while living there to go to the mountains. It's as far north in Spain as you can get before you're not in Spain any longer. And I remember standing on top of that mountain and looking out at all of the beauty, of God's beauty, really. And one of my favorite movies growing up was, I used to watch musicals with my mom all the time. And so we watched The Sound of Music.
I knew that's where this was going.
And on top of that, I also went to Catholic school most of my life. And so I was on top of this mountain and I couldn't resist but to start singing and running across the field. And before I knew it, I looked in back of me and everyone else was following me. And so at that moment, it changed my life, really, because I'd always had a close relationship with God and my mother and my father always made sure I stayed in church and I was raised with religion. And my grandparents were preachers and my uncle was a preacher. So it was very big in our family. But as an adult, I think the moment that I realized that I wanted to couple what I had been taught as a child and how to take care of your neighbor and how to take care of the environment, I wanted to do that for my career. And that moment on top of the mountain looking out and seeing all of God's beauty is really what changed my mind. And I came home and I dedicated my life to sustainability work and trying to ensure that everyone here in my community back here in the United States had the opportunity to live in a clean environment.
There is so much to unpack in that story that you just told. I love the picture that you paint for us of being up on that mountain because I think it really accentuates you being that leader and establishing the following from the very beginning. But what I like even more is the fact that the work you do through both the lens of what you've been taught and what you've learned, but through the lens of experience. So what part does experience and the experiences that you continue to have play in contributing to your faith?
Well, I think that's huge. I think experience allows us to see the world through a particular lens, and everyone has a different experience in life. And what happened for me, my experience taught me that you have to be able to hold on to your faith and you have to be able to connect what happens in your community and connect it through that lens of your relationship with God and with faith. I think that's really important to understand. I came from a background in recycling. After I came home, that's what I really wanted to get into. It's what I was excited about. And it has developed into many other things now. I focus on electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging stations and solar panels on our closed landfills and just so much more than recycling. But I think what happens for me is that I started wanting to ensure that people, no matter your economic background or whether, you came from, a wealthy background or not, or if you are educated or not, it didn't matter. Everyone has the right to live in a clean environment. And I wanted to ensure that and make sure that everybody had that experience.
So you did, it's interesting because you had your faith and you had this major life experience, drew on your faith again, and that moved you into public service. So now let's talk a little bit about the actual job that you do today.
So I love working in public service. I love what I do for a living, but I especially love that I do this in public, in the public service sector, because what that allows me to do is ensure across the board, and it doesn't matter if this person is a part of a particular business or a company, or it doesn't matter. They live in this community, and everything that I do supports a clean environment and a clean place for people to be able to live, work, and play. And that's very important to me.
It's amazing. You're Chief Sustainability Officer and Executive Director of Keep Cobb Beautiful. How did that happen?
So I've actually been a part of Keep America Beautiful for over 15 years. And so I started off in another county, and I started off as a coordinator. And then I just kept moving up the ranks, and I applied here in Cobb County for the executive director position. And I got that position, and we grew the Keep Cobb Beautiful program over the years. I've been here for going on 9 years now. And this program has just, completely, it has grown. We've won so many awards. A lot of our elected officials have been elected official of the year. We've had public servant of the year. We've had Innovation of the Year award. I've won the National Executive Director of the Year award. I won that in 2024. And we have just done so much, with that program. And then being able to continue the work that we do, which we focus on litter prevention, beautification, and recycling. And then being able to couple that with the Office of Sustainability, which is a new endeavor in Cobb County. And I'm the first Chief Sustainability Officer, and being able to take the information and knowledge that we already had and develop it into an even broader spectrum, and in order to ensure that everyone has, a clean environment to be in.
To narrow it to Cobb County, let's get back into the faith part of it. What do you see the role of faith-based organizations like the Archdiocese in Cobb County's sustainability initiatives? What is our role?
I think the biggest role that the faith-based organizations have with the citizens in Cobb County is being able to help citizens identify purpose. See, I think what happens is people they understand purpose when it comes to their relationship with God and with their faith. But they don't always connect purpose with something like doing a cleanup or recycling a water bottle or recycling a piece of cardboard. But I think that is core to us making sure that our environment stays clean and that we have a sustainable place to be. So we have to have purpose in why we do what we do. I think that the faith-based communities can help people bridge that gap. People understand purpose with faith, and now the faith-based communities can help people understand purpose for their environment.
So have you run into any barriers with being a part of the public sector and working with the faith community?
Well, I would say the biggest barrier is that we have what we call in the Keep America Beautiful world as the behavioral change model. And what has happened is over the years, many, many years, we've done a lot of research why people litter, why people don't recycle. And there's a lot that goes into that, and it's a lot to unpack. However, what I would say is that sometimes you have to get into the minds and the hearts and the souls of people, right? You have to speak to them on a different level. And this is why I think faith-based communities, it's the perfect partner in this, right?
We like to think so. We like to welcome to faith and sustainability. So thank you for sharing that. I do have one other question. When it comes to working within the faith communities, what types of programs, give us an example of a partnership between Cobb County and a faith tradition.
Well, we started last year. It was our first. It was our first annual sustainability expo, and we put on this expo, and we had about 20 to 25 vendors that were there, and we had about 250 people that showed up. And this year just blew my mind at how much we increased our participation and our vendors and everyone helping with that event. So we do this every April, and this past April, I really thank you, Kat, for coming out, and Leonard. Thank you so much for being there with us. And what that showed the community, I had so many compliments about your presentation, because the community members didn't know everything that was happening here, or that faith-based communities have to offer. And what happened was it was amazing, actually. The next day I went to a state meeting, and there were a few people that were at the expo that had grown, right? So our expo doubled in participants. It doubled in vendors. We had about 45 vendors. We had 450 participants. It's just growing. And I get to this meeting the next day, and people say, there she is, the lady from Cobb. Oh my goodness, I was so excited about the presentation that the Archdiocese of Atlanta. It was amazing. And what was beautiful was that I was approached to have another conversation, bringing together all of those vendors and the people in the room because they didn't realize what they had in common. And you know what? It was another aha moment for me, because what we had been able to accomplish was bringing together groups that otherwise may never have been able to get together, and found out that they had this in common. And so now we have an opportunity to do even more in the community and connect community members to one another, and they didn't even know that they had that in common.
It was an aha moment for us as well, because we realized, and from that, for our listeners to know, we are pursuing further relationship with Cobb County and all of their vendors with our Cobb County-based parishes. So in doing that, that aha moment for us is we have an opportunity to live our faith outside of our church walls. And Cobb County is going to walk that walk with us. So we're super, super excited about that. I also want to bring up, Leonard, you may remember this, that Kimberly, when I was up there giving the talk, and I mentioned who those Cobb County parishes were, literally I mentioned a parish, St. Thomas the Apostle, and a guy in the background is raising his arms and cheering. And then I talk about St. Anne's and Marietta, and another lady waves her arm like, we're here. I was surprised that of the 5 parishes in Cobb County, there was somebody from every one of those parishes at the expo that weren't there because they knew we were going to be there. They were there for other reasons. That crossover, that's the intersection that we really are having fun exploring.
Yeah. I think first of all, Keep Cobb Beautiful has been around for 41 years this year. And we're really well known in the community, and people know that we do a lot of litter prevention. If you don't know anything else about Keep Cobb Beautiful, you know that the people with the Adopt a Mile signs on the side of the road, right? And so it's really nice to be able to bring people in and teach them about all the other endeavors that we are a part of. Everything else that we do besides the litter prevention. It's our biggest program. It's the thing that most people know us by, but we have so much more to offer.
What I want you to do is I want you to give a call to action to your peers to interact with faith-based organizations, and then a call to action for faith-based organizations to get involved. So I need a double call to action from you.
So first, I would love to say that I think that it's really important for everyone in the community to be able to reach across that divide, right? And connect with one another. So I would say for all of my peers out there, reach out to your local faith-based community members and get involved. Have them come out and do a cleanup with you. Have them teach their parishes and their synagogues and their churches and every place else. Teach them about recycling. Teach them about what we do in the community and what the counties and the cities, the municipalities have to offer. We offer a lot, and most people don't know everything that we offer. So being able to connect the two. And then I would say for all the faith-based organizations out there, that you didn't know that there are people just waiting in these government organizations to connect with you. There were some of them on the stage with me as panelists. And as I mentioned before, like I could talk forever about recycling and sustainability, and so could they. And so all of us, we're never going to pass up an opportunity to talk about sustainability. So reach out. There's somebody like me all over the metro Atlanta community. Every community has a sustainability person or someone that's kind of involved in, let's say, the Keep America Beautiful world. And if you don't know who they are, you could always reach out to me, and I will definitely point you in the right direction.
Now, I'm going to ask you to maybe dig a little deeper here. Looking into the future, what kind of a relationship, or how do you see the relationship deepening and changing between Cobb County and the faith communities? What do you see happening? Look into the future and tell us what you see.
So in the future, what I would love to see is a sustainable Cobb County operating, moving, and running in a very smooth pace, and making sure that we are keeping up with focusing on sustainability initiatives. And I think that one of the best partners we could ever have is having a partnership with the faith-based communities. And I say that because, as I mentioned before, I'm going to bring this back around to purpose. Telling someone that they should just recycle that piece of cardboard isn't the same thing as showing them why it's important to recycle that piece of cardboard. And I think the best partner that could help us communicate this to everyone, all of our residents, all of our guests, everyone that comes into our community, are faith-based organizations that are there, that support us in our relationship with God and our relationship, with our faith. And I think that that's important. And I think that we can do it. I know we can do it, actually. I'm not even going to say think. We can do it.
That's exciting. Is we've had a lot of guests on here as we are the intersection of faith and sustainability. So one last question. Can you tell us your definition of sustainability? Because we know that people address and come at sustainability from a lot of different directions. What direction does Cobb County come from?
So we use the definition that pretty much everybody else uses, right? So it is ensuring that our resources will be here for tomorrow without negatively impacting the people of today. So what we're looking at is ensuring that today we are putting in measures that support us today, but then also support us for generations to come. And I believe that it is a perfect definition, because what we're looking for is to ensure that our community and that our environment is sustainable going forward into the future. And when I look at sustainability, I look at it holistically. Of course, I have my background in recycling, so of course I'm, what some people might call a tree hugger. That's okay, I'll take that. But I also want to see sustainable communities. I want to see economic development. I want to see growth. I want to see people have comfortable places to live and to reside. And I think we can do all of that within a sustainable environment.
Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. And we look forward to working with you on sustainability initiatives in Cobb County. So, hey, thanks for joining us on the ride here.
Thank you for having me.
As we wrap up, Kimberly's story calls us for deeper engagement. Sustainability isn't political. It's not an environmental issue. It's deeply spiritual. So stay connected with us on social media and share your journey with the hashtag faith and sustainability.
And do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave us some reviews, because that's what keeps us on this journey. Until next time, Leonard.
Meet us at the intersection of faith and sustainability.
The preceding podcast is a production of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta. Copyright 2025.